So for this tutorial I'm going to be focusing on the skin. I'm going to be talking about different face shapes, contouring, about having dry skin, oily skin, combination skin and what is best for your skin. And then I'm going to be finishing it off with doing some eyebrows. So I'm going to be starting off with putting the L'Oreal True Match on Amy's skin. I love this foundation because it gives a really nice dewy finish and also it is medium coverage. I don't like too much of a thick foundation, so this is perfect to use. I'm going to put it on with a silicone blender. This is really good for applying because it doesn't absorb any of the product. And then once I've applied it all over the face, and then I'm going to go in with a brush and blend it all in. It doesn't have to be neat when doing this. So if you have more dry skin or normal skin, a foundation with a dewy finish is really good for you because it's hydrating. But if you are more on the oily side, then I wouldn't recommend using a foundation like this just because it will enhance the oil. So you want something that is oil free if you have oily skin. I'm going to go in with the Kady blending brush and just blend it all in so there's no lines. Go in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in shade Custard. So I always go a few shades lighter for concealing because I also like to highlight under the eyes, which will make you look more wide awake and just give you a nice glow under the eyes. And then I'm also going to put it down middle of the nose, a little bit in the centre of the forehead and on the cupid's bow and the chin because that's the points where you should highlight. And also no matter what face shape you have, you should always highlight in these points. It's just when you come to contouring, which I'll talk about, is when you change the places. And then I'm going to go in and blend it all out with the Kady silicone blender. So I'm just going to use dabbing motions, and the good thing about this is that it doesn't absorb any of the product. Once it's blended all out, I'm going to go in with a setting powder and set under the eyes and where I highlighted. So if you wanted a more heavy contour look, then you can use a cream. However, I personally don't like using creams. I like the contour finish with a powder. I find it more natural and you still get a really nice defined look without it looking too cakey. And that sometimes can happen with a cream. So I'm going to use the Hoola Benefit Bronzer and then I'm going to use the Kady Angled Brush just to contour around Amy's cheekbones. So make sure you always start from the top and then slowly blend down in little circular motions so you don't get any lines. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and it's always best to add less product and then add more if you want to, because you don't want to put in too much because then it's hard to take off. Also with contouring, always make sure you bring it along the jawline as well and on the bottom of the chin. This kind of make it appear smaller. And also if you didn't like your forehead, thought it was slightly larger, then you would contour around your forehead. However, Amy has a tiny forehead, so I'm not going to focus around the forehead, but I am just going to brush some product around it just so it looks more natural and blends in with the cheekbone and jawline. Once you've defined the outline of the cheekbones, I'm now going to go in with a blush of colour and then I'm going to go back to the cheekbones and add more of a warmer bronzer just to make your face look more tanned and a bit more colour. So I'm going to use the MAC blusher in shade Gingerly. This is like my favourite blush colour just because it's not too pink and it's not too orange, and it gives a really nice like sun-kissed look on the cheeks. Also it's matte as well because I like to keep the blusher matte and not shimmer, because I like the shimmer to be focused on the highlighter. I'm going to apply it on the apples of the cheekbone. So when you're applying it on yourself or your client, then just get yourself to smile a little bit. Thank you. And then just do little circular motions on the apples of the cheek. Make sure you keep the blusher on the apples of the cheeks and try not to blend it up too much. Leave that to the contour and the bronzer colour. Then I'm going to go back in with a bronzer from Makeup Geek in shade Tawny. This is a really nice warm brown which really makes you look nice and bronzed. Then I'm going to go in with the Rodial Banana Powder, and I'm going to set under the eyes, and I'm also going to clean up the contour just to make it a little bit more sharp and defined. You need to make sure you always set under the eyes so it doesn't crease from the concealer. And then also set in the T-zone to prevent any oil during the day. Also, a little tip for sharpening up the cheekbones: if you want to make them look more defined, then get your setting powder or your banana powder, and where your contour is, just do a little line. This makes it more sharper. Then I'm going to go in with the by Kady Moolah highlighter just to highlight the cheekbones. So I'm just going to start off with combing the brows out. And then I'm going to use the dark brow kit. And then I'm going to get the angled brush and just line out the shape of the brows. Then I'm going to finish off the look just by adding a bit of mascara and then putting a light nude lip on. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. Then I'm going to go in with the by Kady Lip Pencil in shade Sand, which is a really nice nudie pink colour. And then I'm going to go in with the by Kady Nude Gloss in shade Lover's Lane.